Found a sapling. Looks like it's about a 3-inch sapling. Cut it down real quick. I need it to be about nose high, and it's split on the bottom, so this will work out for me, hopefully. But tick-tock, I hear my fire calling me, so let's go back and make sure camp's all set. Okay, so I made a flush cut on the bottom because I cut this with an axe. So I'm going to go nose high, mark it. And try to make a square cut as I can. Okay, that's the height I'm going with. Next I'm going to try to baton it through. Well, I haven't decided yet if I'm going to use my axe or my knife. Probably my knife because I can make a more precise slice with it. We have 1 bar on the battery right now. I have spare batteries. They're being charged. I gave them to Jason yesterday when we checked on us. He hasn't been by at all today. That's why he gave us our deliverables last night. I have a portable battery pack, a real small one for a cell phone. If the camera dies, I'm going to take the camera over and plug it into that battery pack, but it won't operate while it's charging like that. So, you know, if the camera cuts out or whatever, hell, it is what it is. So I'm kind of sighting the bow, seeing where I want it. It looks like this would be a good front of the bow. So I'm going to make a slice 90 degrees from that. I'm going to try to get it dead center. For lack of a real baton, I'm going to use the cut-off piece that I just had. Okay, while you were gone, while the camera was charging, I took the stave that we split in half and I stripped the outer bark. Now this is the face of the bow. This is the side going towards the target. And I tried to leave all the cambium bark on here, but I didn't do that good a job. I was in a hurry. Then I started to trim the limbs out. And that went fairly well. I had the tips tapered on here, and that's where it broke. I don't think I'm going to taper these. I don't know that it matters. The only one I've done was tapered. I think it's like a speed thing or something, which, who cares? At this point, with this kind of bow, you're just trying to get something functional. So right now, I'm going to floor tiller it, or stump tiller it, I guess, in this case. Okay, that limb's quite a bit heavier than this one. So you're looking for flex of the limb, but you don't want any hinge points. And I got hinge points and stuff, but this ain't going to be perfect. Right here. Right where my fingers are, it's got to come out. I'm going to get my Leatherman saw, and I'm going to cut nocks into here, and then I'm going to try to floor tiller it, or I'm sorry, string tiller it. So I'm going to have a long string that's not, doesn't have the tension of a bowstring, and I'm just going to try to get the wood used to being bent. I think I'm going to do one knock on each side, on alternating sides. Jamie Burley did that on a Pathfinder TV video, and I did it on mine and it worked. So who am I to question? But I really don't want to have any issues. I've made it this far. Little saws like the on the multi-tools and Swiss Army knives are perfect for situations like this when you're just trying to do detail work. I'm going to come down 2 fingers. Let me see. Come down 2 shallow fingers, so barely 2 fingers. I'm going to make a cut. And then on the opposite end, so caddy corner from that one. And 2 fingers down, and I went in about a blade of the saw length, and it is deeper here because of my taper, so that might cause me issues. But that wouldn't be the first time I got issues this weekend. I'm going to start up at the top and taper it down. So now I'm going to show you the bow, not me. I'm just flexing the fibers, getting them used to moving. I'm hearing cracking. So if you see any hinges like right here, that's a hinge point. I need it to bend a little more right here. Actually, both of these 2 tapers are a little too thick for the length of bow I now have. So I'm going to reduce those significantly on both sides. Out of the handle. I'm trying to make deep shearing cuts. So darkness is quickly approaching, so I'm going to stop what I'm doing. The last thing I want to do is hurry and end up breaking this thing. But I can tell just my habit. But if I'll swing this axe has got a nice flat face on it, and it's like a little bit wider than a bow, so it's nice to just cleave off nice flat sides. But I have a tendency to kind of peek over the bow to see what I'm doing, and then I'll make a taper. So it's actually curling in a little bit. So it's thicker back here, thinner out here. I see that on both sides. day. I want to keep going, but I don't want to push it. So I'm getting ready to go back and start working on my bow again. Last night I left it laying flat. I don't know if it would really make a difference if I leaned it against something or not, but I didn't. This is like the critical part. It's not that hard to make it look like this. That's actually a pretty good straight shaft. It's again, this is the belly. This is the shooter side. This is the face. This is the target side. And this bow actually bends out. So I believe they call that like a reflex deflex long bow is what this will be. But I'm just cutting a tree down and trying to make a survival bow here. So I'm working with what I got. But this seems like a pretty good candidate. I remember when I left last, I was trying to thin out this taper right here. And here's my grip. This is center line. I scratched a mark right here. So this is center of the board. So there's my grip. Not quite 100% yet, but I'm a long way from needing that. And then I taper the limbs. So what I did is I went 2 fingers below, 2 fingers above center line for my handhold, and then 4 fingers down. And I started that at limb thickness, and then I just taper it out the rest of the way. And again, this bow was longer. This bow was, you know, up to my nose. So it's lost 8 inches probably, at least. I tapered my tips, and I probably did it too early, and I was still thinning my limbs out, and it cracked on me. So again, I went from center line to the new shortened limb, and then took that same string and went center line to the full length limb, and wherever that line was, that's where I cut it off and I started over again. So the more we break this thing, the shorter it's going to get. But I can still see it's not quite level here. This is probably going to get thinned out a little bit. This side's not as bad. This side looks okay, pretty level. I was using my axe and kind of just cleaning up all the cut marks. Today I'm going to use the back of my knife like a spoke shave and try to make sure it's as clean as I'm able to get it in this situation, under these circumstances. So I'm going to go slow. I'm not going to work fast. I don't have it in me to work fast. And if I get frustrated, I'm going to stop. So this will take as long as it takes. I got all day. Now I hate to put titles on things, but this is why I personally prefer bushcraft, if you want to use that term. I mean bushcraft, woodcraft, as opposed to just straight up survival, because me laying in that opening on a Tyvek bag with no blanket on night number 1, that was survival. I would be doing this stuff at home, to be honest with you. Of course, I would have had breakfast before I came out here, and I'd probably have a cup of coffee as I'm doing this, and I might have a radio going on, but to be out here in this setting, just, you know, screwing around with a stick and a knife, that's what I like to do. You know, the terms are bushcraft survival are thrown out there so often. I don't care what you call it. I mean, I want to be able to do all this stuff. I want to climb every mountain there is to climb with this field. But there's certain things that come more naturally, I guess. And this is just kind of what I dig. So all my little cut marks and my nicks from my axe, probably 95% of this was all done with my axe. I carved my handle in with my knife, and I cut my notches in with my Leatherman saw. So I've got nick marks on it. I'm going to use the spine of my knife to make sure everything's smooth and kosher on the back of this bow. So I also, while you were gone, I took my knife and I just kind of knocked the sharp edge off. I did that on all sides. You know, anytime you got a sharp edge like that, I think it's just like machining, you end up with a problem. But I just created another sharp edge when I lowered this radius down. So I'm just going to hit that again with my knife. I was thinking last night, I remembered saying I put one knock on this because I saw Jamie Burley do it and I did it and it worked for me. I remembered he said that was for like a crooked bow. So you want your string to come down the center where it releases the arrow. That's your last point of contact. So this stave is fairly straight, but it could be better. But it doesn't matter it doesn't matter what the string does as long as it is straight at your release point. So that was the theory with the offset knocks like this. You need to know more than you'd have to ask him. I don't know. So this string's on here like nothing, right? So now I'm just working the limbs a little bit. Actually, I'm using the camera. Oh, that's a bad hinge right here. I'm using the camera to help me tiller. See how bad that is? So that's a break point right here. So here's my hinge, and I think it's right on the edge where this cambium layer is cut. Right here's the point. So I'm going to thin this way. I don't want to touch this. I don't want to touch this with anything right now. This is too thin as it is. So I'm going to go back to the blade. I think I might try to work up the bow a little bit. I don't think that'll work. I'm going to stop before this knot though. right there that there's cracks in the cambium layer, right where that little knot is. So the temperature's dropping quickly here. I'm good. Got my bow. I haven't messed with it since the camera died. This is going to be closer to full brace height here. Huh. A lot of stretching this line. Apparently not. Let's get this bow warmed up again. It's been sitting a while. I hear the fibers. I don't think this is going to happen. Look at that bad bend. Now, I've never made a green stick bow before, so maybe this is more forgiving, I hope. Because if not, I've just wasted my whole time. Oh, 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 oh. Good Lord. Look at this. Well, it matches. That's a little short from a full you know what, I'm not trying for perfection. Let me work this thing a couple times. You can see how low my energy level is. This is exhausting, actually. Here we go. Crack, crack. That's an awful bow. If I was in Australia, maybe they'd make a boomerang. Well, it is what it is. Given my time and equipment and my experience, this is what I got. Unusable. When I split that log, I don't even know what kind of tree this is, but when I split it, this was the better side, this was the better one, and apparently better wasn't that good. I think the big thing that got me is when I lost that the tip of the bow, tip of the limb. You know, that cost me 8 inches overall. There's all kinds of different bows to make. This is the only style I've ever done. So this This is broken. Oh well, project down. So if you guys have any ideas how I could have corrected that problem. I did not see that hinge actually. That one surprised me. I was focused on the other side so bad. But you know, leave it in the comment box. I'm interested. I want to get better at this. You know, I've almost made it through advanced class. You know, there's still a long way yet to go. You know, I've got a long night. I have no idea what time it is right now, but my skill level is not where I want it to be. I'm way more advanced than I was when I started, but I'm not quite there yet. So this is all a journey. I'm learning, and that's the best way to learn.